ארגון הסחר הכלכלי ההודי בספטמבר 2020 השיק את הוועד למשקיעים זרים בהודו. מטרת הוועד היא לבחון את האפשרויות להשקעות זרות באזור קרנטקה ולהיטיב אסטרטגיה של מדיניות לשיפור הנוכחות של קרנטקה ברחבי העולם. בדיאלוג השתתפו פקידי ממשלה בקרנטקה, דיפלומטים, ארגוני סחר ויועצי השקעות זרים.
My name is Mlכה אירני. I live in India for the last 10 years. I have come to India for the first time in 2005 when I relocated to Sri Lanka for a job. When I came to India, I felt so bad, not because of the beautiful country, but because I was relocated to Sri Lanka and not to India. But I promised myself that one day will come and my path and India's path will meet again. So what I did, I married an Indian man, very simple. So today I'm in India since 2010. I'm raising my family here. And in profession I'm a clinical psychologist and I'm also doing tourism. I believe that India is going to be a superpower, country and economy. I'm not in India because I don't have a choice. I'm in India because it is my choice. I want to live in India. And I'm not the first one actually that's saying that India is a superpower and going to be a superpower country. Before me there was a prime minister, actually the first prime minister of Israel, David Ben-Gurion. He said that India is going to be a superior country, is going to be the future. And he asked people of Israel to reach out to India. That was in the 1950s, 1960s. Unfortunately, only very few listened. Israel and India formed established relationships, diplomatic relationships in 1992. With the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, when he came historically to Israel as the first Prime Minister of India coming to Israel in 2017, the relationship between the countries expanded. Agriculture, water, homeland security, defense, and much more. Other than these traditional sectors, India and Israel are also working together on the future, which is the digital revolution of India. I'm going to touch three subjects today. The first one is the economics and the technological ties between the countries. The relationships are growing, but it has not come yet to the full potential that it can come. While Israelis want to come to India and settle here, they cannot form businesses here. It's very difficult for them to gain a foothold in India. When it comes to Indian businessmen, they also have not visited Israel as expected and has not invested in Israel. For different reasons. My recommendation to the policymakers are as follows. Other than the embassies who already have attaches to help and to bridge between the countries, between the partners in the countries, let's not wait for them. Let's centralize it. Let's have an information center where we actually can be the contact and the bridge for these small and medium businesses who wants to come here to India. Because of the short time that I have, I will not elaborate and I will not give more examples. I'll move to the second topic that I would like to talk, which is the business cultural ties. What is happening is that it's very obvious that India and Israel has different culture environment. When in India we are saying time, we approach it differently when we are saying time in Israel. So there is a gap, there is misunderstanding. When the business people are coming to India, unfortunately, this causes misunderstanding, confusion, and sometimes also the businesses are not carrying on. My recommendation for that is cultural training programs. Very simple. Before they come here, can we provide them a center? Can we provide them training? It's not new. When I used to live in Mumbai, and I was called even to give a cultural training to a company in India, in Bangalore, that was engaged with Israelis only for a few weeks. So if we want to develop the country, and we want, this is why we are here. So let's consider that. Other than that, why do they bring people from outside? Why do they bring their own CEOs and their own people from outside? We have people here. Let's talk about Israel, and they can source their Israelis here, or they can source people who already lived in India before. They can ask them to lead the initial ties between the two partners, and it will save them a lot of failure and trouble. I performed as a director after a failure of a former manager who came from Israel. The last topic that I would like to touch on is the academics and the educational ties. While the Indian people express friendship to Israel, and a lot of backpackers come to India, but there are also a big part of Indians who don't really know where Israel is, what is Judaism, or maybe even the most sensitive thing that we Israelis have is the Holocaust, the topic of the Holocaust. So in India, the teaching of the same topics are small or weak. But it's not only in India, even in Israel, in the universities and the colleges, they do teach Indian culture, history, and language. But India is the future, so why do they teach about the past? Why do they teach about the ancient India? My recommendation for the same is, again, program exchange between students, and not only students, but also the faculty members. Other than that, maybe we can have in the big cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, or Delhi, a center, cultural institutions where we can help in the understanding of the both cultures with movies, with fairs of book, food, even with giving them assistance with the language. And I know that because I used to live in Mumbai, and in Mumbai the business, when it comes to diamond, it's quite flourishing. And Indian businessmen approached me, Indian employees approached me. They were not businessmen. They were not the owners of the company. Nobody sponsored them. And their aim, what they wanted to do is to learn basic Hebrew. So the need is there. I spoke mostly about what in my eyes is the connection and the way to bring business to India. According to me, person-to-person encounter dialogue, this is the flourish for the future, for business in India and Israel. What I said is not only limited to Israel. We can take the name Israel, and we can put instead of Israel, Germany, South Africa, Russia, or any other country. So thank you very much for your time.
אני מלכה אירני, חברת וועד להשקעות זרות בהודו. אני מזמינה אתכם ליצור עמי קשר במידה ואתם מעוניינים לפתח או להקים עסקים ברחבי הודו, בעיקר במדינת קרנטקה. היו שלום ושאו ברכה.